So it's definitely a fairly typical start to my morning at the moment. Start to my mornings walking along a Undercliff Drive in the Isle of Wight Undercliff. Just in St Lawrence at the moment. It's a little bit breezier than I thought it would be. Kind of a walk along a little way along here, then jog back to the car. It's going to be a beautiful day today, I think. It's due to be sunny all day. A bit breezy this morning, but it's about 7:30, I think. Actually need to go and get some fuel. So it's another fairly typical part of my life as a car dweller. Is I normally fuel up about once a fortnight. I've only got a little C1 that I'm currently attempting to live in. So it doesn't take much fuel up, and I don't really drive very far. I love this stretch of road because there's no kind of rush hour traffic or anything like that, because it's a dead end. It doesn't go anywhere beyond these local houses, sort of thing. So yeah, my first task in the car when I woke up was to put the jet boil on to boil some oat milk. I don't like the jet boil particularly. I will do a review of it at some point, but it's because of the gas canister which I use, which is quite a tall one. The whole structure just is really tall and thin, and it would work okay in as a backpacker type setup, I guess. I wouldn't use big gas canisters as a backpacker, so it wouldn't be as tall. I just think the form factor, the kind of profile of it is a bit awkward for me. I much prefer the flatter camping gas type stoves, the little cheap £30 ones as they are now. They used to be about £15, but they're gone up in price. They just sit a lot lower, and they're much more practical in a car or a van. Obviously if you're in a van, you'll have a proper stove setup, induction type setup ideally if you've got decent electrical system. But yeah, so I'll boil oat milk in the car. That's my first kind of task. Then get clean, get dressed. Baby wipes or wet wipes, are a bit of an asset in that regard. I won't go into that in detail. As are showers, and there is a shower system in the Undercliff that the public can use. Then as I'm parked down here, I typically will walk along this section of Undercliff Drive when I'm parked there, and enjoy the early morning racket from the birds. See if there's any red squirrels around. Check out this dip, which is, the road is sinking here. Absolutely love this area. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to go a little way to the end here, then run back to the van. Then I will go to the garage and get some petrol. It's lovely field maple here in the garden is really leafing up nicely now. Our native version of sycamore, much smaller leaves, as you can see. There's a yew there, which the firecrests and goldcrests really love. It's a really good area down here for seeing the firecrests, which are a very beautiful little bird. Some more yews there. just go as far as this turning point here. You can't drive any further along this road anymore because of the big land slippage that happened, or 2 land slippages that happened along this section of road. So I'll typically walk up this far in the morning, run back, and then usually head into town to get some coffee. As I say, I need to go and get some fuel first. So I've usually finished my coffee by about 10 AM, at which point I'll probably walk down the Esplanade and have another cup of tea or coffee, do some writing in another cafe just down there. So probably do a couple more hours of writing. By early afternoon, having done a bit of writing, had a fairly productive morning, I'll typically go for an early afternoon walk, relax a bit and shoot some video here in Ventnor Bay at the moment. So I really need the exercise. I'm I've downloaded the Strava app, which is for runners and, well, for people that like exercise, and it kind of logs my walks and runs and hopefully shortly cycle rides. I'm going to try and get a bike, but yeah, I do try to do as many of these kind of walks as I can, just to try and get back to some level of fitness. So yeah, one of the great things about Ventnor on the Isle of Wight and the Undercliff in general is that it does have all these hills. It's not level ground, hence Steep Hill Cove and Steep Hill and what have you. Lots and lots of really nice hill walking. Not really hill walking in the traditional sense, so we're not up on the moors, but you do have downlands up above Ventnor, so if you want to keep fit, this is definitely a good place to do it. So I will be investing in a bike soon, so I can do more cycle rides through the Undercliff and get a bit further afield. I don't like driving everywhere. And take more videos of bits that are a bit further out from Ventnor. I tend to record Ventnor, St Lawrence and Bonchurch and not really anywhere further afield, so I need to be a bit more adventurous, and that's what the bike hopefully will help me do. So here's a rare guest appearance from the Cornish van dweller. Just wanted to show I've got a passion for bird watching, which is well, I've got these binoculars, so that's what I'm going to do now for an hour or so. I'm just going to have a break, have a walk, and see if there's any migrant birds around. Prime time of the year, really late. What is it? Late April. Lots of bird migration going on at the moment. So I like to walk around town, getting fit and seeing if I can find any migrant birds in any of the gardens or little parks and bits of open space around Ventnor. It's the Ventnor Cascade. Quite a lot of birds come down and drink at this fresh water. Fairly iconic view, looking west through the Undercliff towards Woody Head. There's a paddling pool that's recently been done up for the season, looking good. Ventnor Haven. It's a bit breezy, so I hope you can hear me clearly enough. And I really hope it's not going to be like last summer, summer 2023, when for a big chunk of the summer it was just incessantly windy. So it's sunny enough, but just the wind just was a bit annoying, really. Toadflax, I think. So just these little patches of cover, scraps of cover really. A few shrubs, a few holm oaks and euonymus, that kind of stuff, and also a bit of sycamore and elders, and these are where the little migrant birds are going to drop into as they arrive on the coastline, having crossed the English Channel. They'll drop into here and just feed up things like whitethroats and willow warblers and chiffchaffs. at this time of year. So I check all of these just in case, well, to get a count of the birds that have arrived, if any. Haven't seen any this morning. But get a count of what has arrived, and there might be something rare in amongst them. So that's what I'm always looking out for. I very rarely find anything rare, but you never know. So really my mornings are taken up with research for writing projects. When I say research, I only write non-fiction books. So kind of natural history and digital nomadism, location independent lifestyle, van life, that kind of stuff is what I'm writing about. So for the natural history kind of books I'm writing, I'll do a lot of research using source material like kind of journal articles, kind of scientific journal articles and other books that have been written. So Salisbury Gardens on the East Cliffs in Ventnor. St Boniface down up there. So yeah, I'll take notes from those various sources and I'll put those notes into Scrivener, which is the writing app that I use. And then come the afternoon, so after this walk, in the case of today, I'll look back at those notes and gradually weave them into the book I'm working on at the time. And that weaving in will often be done just by walking around as I am now, using my iPhone as my main kind of writing device. So I use voice to text for the writing when I'm not in the cafe. It's my preferred way of writing. I just basically activate the voice to text functionality in my iPhone. And I've got the Scrivener app on the phone. That means I can just walk around or just sit on a bench, one of these benches, nice sheltered bench over there, and just use voice to text just to write using those notes that I took earlier in the morning. So now I'm going to quickly check these tamarisks, because this is a little spot that the migrant birds, the willow warblers and chiffchaffs and whitethroats, that kind of thing, it's what they really love, because it's a really good source of insects. Basically, it's not really in leaf yet, it's gradually beginning to come into leaf. It's better when it is in leaf. But then you've got this hebe hedge as well, which is really good for migrant birds. It's better earlier in the morning, to be honest, because in spring a lot of the migrant birds just move through really fast. They land in this kind of habitat and then get some food, eat some insects, and then quickly shoot off inland to continue their migration. So the blackthorn has definitely stopped flowering now, which is a shame, because earlier in the spring, during March and early April, this blackthorn is all in flower, and it's really good for all those flowers, all those blossoms are really good for small insects, which is what the birds are looking for. Little flies and hoverflies and that sort of thing. But this time of year, you know, by the time those flowers are gone over, the tamarisks are becoming more attractive. The leaves are beginning to unfurl. So it can be fairly hit and miss in terms of whether there are going to be any migrant birds around in the morning of any given day. A lot depends on the weather conditions and the time of year, but I had a report from St Catherine's Point this morning that there was very little around, which means there'll be very little around here, whereas yesterday there were loads of migrant birds and it was a lot more overcast and a bit drizzly at times, and that tends to mean the birds do land, whereas when the weather's a bit better like this, from their point of view, they just go straight over and head inland. But yeah, it does seem to be very quiet at the moment. Just a singing blackbird. And if I'm feeling really energetic and I have a bit more time, I'll go right up to the top, up to the radar station. Not going to do that today, because I have neither the energy nor the time. This is another great little patch for migrant birds that I check every day. Just up behind the winter gardens. Nothing in there today really, apart from a singing dunnock. Let's walk on down here. Lovely little town, Ventnor. It's a very nice cafes and restaurants and various little gift shops and other bits and pieces. Do love walking through the churchyard of St Catherine's Church. Just behind the Honda garage. Garage. Who knows? Spanish bluebells in flower. Are these Spanish or? Yeah, they look like Spanish to me. Tell me in the comments section. And do subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. If you want to see more car life, van life related videos. And videos from here on the Isle of Wight at the moment, although I do get around a lot. So do subscribe to the channel if you're into this kind of digital nomadism sort of content, as well as content on the Isle of Wight at the moment. And press the like button for this video. And if you wish to support the channel, oh, there's a orange tip butterfly over there, and there's the second one I've seen this spring. Yeah, if you do want to support the channel, consider supporting me on buymeacoffee.com. There's a link to that in the description to the video. Wow, what a beautiful afternoon. It's very breezy down, actually on the seafront, but up here it's lovely and sheltered. I think I've antagonised the local canine, for which I apologise. I wish I'd leave a bit more areas unmown in here, because this sward is full of wildflowers. And if they left more areas unmown, it would flower a lot more, as it is here. So it's approaching the time I need to be back down in the bay. Typically, kind of 2, 3 o'clock. Get back down into the bay and do some more writing. And video editing, of course. Too windy just up here to do much video recording. Just walking down Bath Road now, back into the bay. Just thought I'd admire some of Ventnor's finer cracks, so to speak. This one's definitely opening up now. Opening up on this side as well. This section of wall still stands, thankfully. How much longer? So do tell me in the comments section to this video if you're a van lifer, or are you following this channel to see the Isle of Wight Ventnor footage. So I think quite a few people are watching it for Isle of Wight and Ventnor more than van life, but it would be interesting to get some feedback on that, what sort of videos you like to see. So yeah, it's now approaching 2 o'clock, so I'm going to head back down into the bay, as I often do this time of day, and get a coffee down at Blake's Tea Hut, which is on the seafront down there. Often going to Golden Sands and Lady Scarlet's as well, which are this side of Blake's Tea Hut. And then I'll go back into where I normally work in the afternoons and do a bit of video content creation, or video editing, and a bit more kind of expanding those writing notes I made earlier in the day towards paragraphs in one of my books. So it's now 2:44 and I'm helping out in the museum for an hour or two, and I'll get back to writing soon. What a cracking afternoon. So it's now 4 PM and I've kind of finished what I'm going to do in terms of writing for the day. So probably head up, get some food from Co-op. One of the constraints of living in a very small vehicle is that you can't really store food. So I'm sure I could actually, I'm sure I could set up a freezer system or fridge system of some sort. I don't really want a chiller because then I'd need to buy ice or something regularly. Certainly don't want to be doing that. So it's now about 6 PM and I've completely switched off for the day. Just got some food, so I'll be having some satay style, well, Quorn satay using peanutty satay sauce. That's easy to do in the van with just a jet boil, which I can turn into a kind of a stove, a slightly ungainly one because it sits too tall to put a pan on really, but I can just about do it. So that's what I'm going to be doing this evening, just warming up some, well, cooking some noodles or some pasta, and then mixing in satay sauce and putting Quorn in. That would be lovely. Great thing about Quorn is you can eat some of it the next day as well. One of those bags of Quorn mints lasts for a couple of days without going dodgy. So yeah, what a lovely day it is, or what a lovely late evening or early evening it is now here in Ventnor. Might have a bit of a walk towards Flowers Brook. I'm not sure how far I'll get, but let's go and find out, shall we? So very often in the evening I'll just walk, have a nice walk. When I'm on the Isle of Wight, I often walk down this way towards Ventnor Park and Steep Hill. Might have a bit of a run when I get down to Steep Hill, I think. Love to listen to the bird song, and there's a great tit up there singing. Teacher, teacher. There was a very loud black bird just over there. Bird song in the evening is almost as good as first thing in the morning. Just heading down towards Flowers Brook now. So this slope down to Castle Cove with Steep Hill Cove beyond is known as Steep Hill Dotty by the running community, and I'm going to walk down the bottom of this slope into into Castle Cove, and I'm going to run up it again, which is what the runners do. I can normally do it in about 45 seconds, I think. Just going to do it again, see if I survive. If I do, I'll record again at the top. So down the bottom now, just trying to psych myself up. It's steeper than it looks. Well, I made it. Surprisingly still alive. Barely. So by about, I don't know, 6:30, 7 o'clock, I'm usually back in the car. Hello. And I very often warm up food, cook something in the van, and I acquired this jet boil, which I'm really not a fan of. This has been my main cooking device and coffee making device in the mornings for the last year or so, I would guess. So I do use this extra kind of long gas canister because they just last a lot longer than the smaller ones, which are normally kind of about that big, about half the size. But it does mean you have a very tall stove, which in a little van like this, or a little car like this, is obviously not very practical at all. And when you put this bit onto it, the actual container for whatever you're boiling or cooking, it's just ridiculously tall. So I'm really not that keen on this jet boil. I tend to just use it for making coffees in the morning or warming up oat milk, which this isn't really ideal for. Or I'll fit this kind of plate on top, which comes with the jet boil, or was designed for the jet boil, came with it. And you just slot that in like so, and then you can stick a pan on top. So I've got this little pan here, but it's never that stable, to be honest. So it's not ideal. It's very tall, as you can see, and trying to balance this thing when you're in a car is not ideal. So what I think I'm going to do is return to the old camping gas kind of bigger square, flatter type stove, which I had before in the Berlingo. Trouble with that is it uses much smaller gas canisters, and you can only use one size of cartridge, canister sort of size, and that holds very little gas, and it normally only lasts about a week. I don't really like constantly throwing away metal gas canisters. It's not a very eco-friendly way of living, really, so I need to find a better cooking solution. But for now, help if I'm in shot, for now I'll just use that camping gas stove, and when I get a better, bigger van, if I do, then I'll set up a better cooking system. But yeah, that's what I normally do in the evenings, is warm something up in the car, and this time of year I'll just stay in the car until it's time to go to bed. Whereas in winter I'll normally go to the pub over there, Spyglass, or if I'm elsewhere then another pub in the evening. So I think that'll do me for now. What a lovely evening. Sun is now going down. It's quite an interesting ship over there. I'm not going to be able to see it, but it's quite interesting. Interesting shape. So down on Ventnor Bay, sun's gone in now, gone down, dropped below the horizon, and temperature's dropping quite rapidly. So I'm going to go back into the car and cooks my corn satay type thing, which hopefully be quite nice, and yeah, and just watch some videos, I think. Hope you enjoyed the video. Do subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more about van life and related topics, and I'll see you at the next video.